Welcome back, everybody, to Season 4, Week 6, Division 1 Double Dip Draft Analysis Recap Video. It's your boy Spood, coach of the Southtown Sandslashers. Joining me today is
Jason, the coach of the Hartford Honchgrows.
And today we're going to be taking a look at the 4 hot and spicy matches we got from Division 1 from Week 6. By Week 6, it's do or die time, man. Usually by Week 6, you'd find that people have kind of either established that they are or are not going to advance, but Division 1 is not like that. It actually takes up until literally the bitter end to find out who advances and who does not into playoffs. Yeah, man. I don't know how much you've been keeping tabs on Division 1, but it's been very tight.
Yeah. Same with Division 2. I'm in Division 2, as well as you, Spood, but close from both divisions all the way to the last week.
Yeah, it's just interesting in Division 1 how, actually insanely tight, because basically you've got 5 people pushing for playoffs in Division 1.
Oh, every game mattered this week.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of games that matter, Firebolt. We're going to introduce this match here in a second, but I wanted to kind of give some context. Firebolt, at this point, had taken, I believe, 2 losses, and he had to win essentially every single remaining game to clutch it out into playoffs. And this was a game that was really, really touch and go. We had Firebolt, coach of the Minnesota Magikarps, versus Mass, the coach of the Minneapolis Magnezones. Mass, on paper, was an easy opponent. Mass was 0-5 going into this match. So Firebolt just had to be not Mass's first win. And It was really touch and go.
Yeah, Mass definitely threw out some stuff this game. Him and Firebolt both had a lot of different things. I didn't know who's going to win.
Yeah, it actually came down to literally a single turn. I'll show you, actually.
Nail biter at the end.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look. Is my stream still up? Okay, yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at Mass versus Firebolt. Mass actually does get the advantage on the opening turn. He gets the Roserade on the Swampert, and then immediately misses Sleep Powder on the Corviknight.
Terrible.
Yeah, just one of those RNG moments that happens. It actually ends up not mattering super a lot, because he gets the sleep immediately before it can even use a move later. So maybe he lost a little bit of momentum in the early game, but it didn't end up mattering that much as far as RNG goes. There's something that happens later that hurts a lot more.
Oh. So losing that Gigalith pretty early, not the best thing either, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. No.
Staying in on Swampert with your Gigalith, I guess trying to tank one and click Explosion. I'm not sure.
I think he was trying to really hard predict an avalanche, because Swampert has shown avalanche before in the couple last weeks. He hit IDM's Dragonite real hard with the avalanche.
He used it earlier. This game.
Yeah. So literally, I think he was afraid of switching in Togekiss on the Earthquake, so he tried to hard read the avalanche and then just got it wrong. But I think that was kind of a risky play either way.
Yeah, unfortunate. Also,
Firebolt doing a godlike double there. I love that. And then he immediately gets super hard punished for that.
Flinched.
Great
play by Mass.
Yeah, let's go.
He has his win con, and he was like, if I'm killing this thing and not getting swept right here, right now, I'm flinching it.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I honestly like that idea, because I think that when you're up against Serene Grace, Togekiss, or Jirachi or whatever, you're just, you're going to get flinched more often than not. It's literally a 60% chance. So
we saw Akaberry come out from that Lucario right there to kill the Togekiss with a flash cannon. That was sick.
Yeah, hard read on the flamethrower.
Just gonna exchange Toxics.
Yep.
Boring.
Whatever. It's the Mew transform set.
Gets the double again.
Mm-hmm.
As you were saying.
Well, yeah, the Mew transform set is nuts, and he's brought it every single week. So
he loves it.
Yeah, at this point, Firebolt I think was prepped for it for sure.
The belly drum off. Sadly, not going to do anything.
Yeah, he kills this, but
Lucario
just hard outspeeds it. Yeah,
outspeeds, and then here we go.
So here's the deciding moment. So this Mew is actually Choice Scarf transform, and this this Drapion is also Choice Scarf, so they're the exact same speed. And Mass wins the first speed tie, which doesn't matter, and loses the second speed tie, which does matter. Opens up Firebolt to actually just sort of get here in the end game and just kill this Roserade. Whereas, if the Drapion had continued to Earthquake, or rather, if the Mew, disguised as Drapion, had continued to Earthquake, it would have killed Firebolt's Drapion, and then inevitably the Lucario. The Lucario maybe could have done some Vacuum Wave shenanigans. So I guess it wasn't like a total loss, but basically, yeah, he kind of just like wiped them over there.
Vacuum Wave, no way. Roserade has to tank Vacuum Wave.
Oh yeah, well, sure. Well, the thing is, Vacuum Wave would hit the Drapion, or like the Mew, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It would kill them. Who knows? Well, yep, speed tie loss, game loss. Unfortunate. Great match. That was a great one to watch.
Very tight. Firebolt was sweating on that one. Firebolt kind of almost has this weird sort of paradoxical like performance where he's doing worse versus players that he's seated higher than, and like better versus players that he's seated below. So even though he keeps beating, like, you know, he beat Phantom Knight I think pretty handily, but he had a bit of a struggle versus Mass and a bit of a struggle versus Woody, which in theory were supposed to be kind of like not easy wins per se, but definitely Firebolt favored matchups. For
sure. However, he gets the win, and that's all that mattered at the end of the day.
That's true. Firebolt lives another day, but his path to playoffs from here is still very perilous. He can't afford to lose a single game.
No.
But hey, by week 6, like, honestly, if you just have to win one more to get in the playoffs, like, you're still, you know, ahead in the game. Like, you're here to win it. Anyway, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, in this extremely RNG-based game, anything can happen.
That's true. Literally a game for children, right? Like, arbitrarily deciding victory. Like, honestly, when you keep it like that close, I mean, you know, I feel bad for Mass because his whole season has just been like a comedy of errors.
He's had, yeah, there have been many just times where like, oh, he can win this, and then hacked or one misplay, and there goes the game. And I just feel bad for him.
Yeah. Rough.
But that's
Mass.
Pokemon.
Yeah, that's definitely Pokemon.
However, our next game, Claire, who is the coach of the Maryland Manectrics, and then we had Seamith, coach of the Neerdowell Nidokings.
Damn, bro, you stroking out.
Dude, I can't pronounce it.
All right,
this is hard.
Claire versus Kemeth. Kemeth, coach of the Neerdowell Nidokings.
Yeah.
Claire, the Maryland Manectrics. That's right. This one was also really important. Essentially, I think at this point, Claire had only taken one loss, had lost to Scoots, and I think was sitting at the top of the division at this point. Whereas Kemeth was, I mean, he was kind of just a mobile player, right? Like, he kind of was starting a bit lower, but he was always kind of like in playoff contention, but he would just go up and up and up and up. And so Kemeth really wanted to clinch this win because he would either have to beat her or Firebolt to guarantee his advancement in playoffs. So he could kind of go into week 7 a little bit more relaxed as long as he picked up the win here. Whereas obviously the opposite is true for Claire, who had won her opening 4 games very handily, but those were kind of, you know, it was a close like RNG call versus Firebolt, and then it was 3 players who she was seeded to beat. So yeah.
Claire definitely doing their thing up until now. And this match is some pretty cool sets. A lot of cool things happen in this match.
Yeah, it's a treat to watch these guys play. They're really good. And actually, this turn 1 was all the fortune for Kevin. Just check this out.
Oh yes.
Pow, 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 crit. I mean, seriously, you think this thing's a fucking cloister for hitting just all those icicle spears?
Insane.
But just literally like hard beats out that Galvantula, removes it from play super early. And actually, the Kemeth Ditto plays, he had actually not brought Ditto a single week before this point. He kind of, you know, he kept it in his team, right? He was sort of pressuring people from team building, but he never actually brought it. But it saw a lot of use here. Not necessarily in terms of killing, although it did get 3 kills. It literally just defogs away shit every single time. Like, no matter what this Klefki tries to do, Ditto just takes care of it. Actually, in this instance, it just goes for like also a reflect, but pretty much any momentum that Claire was trying to get with like setting up hazards or sort of getting screens or whatever, Kenneth just undid it every single time.
Yeah, having not seen Seamuth bring Ditto, Claire probably thought it was okay to have both the defog and screens on the same mon under Clef Key. However, Seamuth hard counter that with their Ditto.
He put the elbow grease in, man, for sure. And it literally
great
this
burn
thing,
right there.
It just comes in every time.
Yeah.
Like dual screens, rocks on his side, and then they're just fucking gone. Just boom, like that.
Right now. Goodbye. As you said it.
Yeah. He just puts on so much pressure on Claire, like just by he's always got control of the field basically, no matter how much Claire tries to like claw it back. Like just go for like just the YOLO blizzard. I don't know why you wouldn't assume that T-Tar comes in there, but I guess you want to just apply the pressure anyway.
Hey, 70%, 70%.
That's true. I mean, you know, we take those where we get them right.
I'm clicking blizzard every time.
I mean, it's like even less than Sandstorm, right?
Yep, Tyranitar and the rest of her team gets absolutely hardballed by Gastrodon Ditto.
Yeah.
Whole game.
And again, like, she's put up rocks like fucking 3 times and like screens like 3 times. And just every time Kevin just gets in, defogs, gets out. I don't even think he brought a defogger. Yeah, he definitely didn't bring any kind of like hazard controller like screen breaking or whatever. Maybe he had Brick Break on Machamp. Yeah.
No, not with the set that he's running.
No.
I mean, I don't think there's no space, right?
That's true. Actually, I do know the Machamp set. I didn't want to spoil it too early in the game, but this is a Guts Rest Talk Machamp. So it's like close combat, I think Darkest Lariat for Chandelure, and then it's like Rest and Sleep Talk. And
insane set.
Weird micro interaction that you might not be aware of with Guts is that if you're asleep and you use a move in Sleep Talk, you still get Guts boosted. Claire actually doing a very clever bit of Ditto prep there and bringing Protect so she can scout for the Earthquake on this and bring in Rotom because she knows that it's not going to be Mold Breaker because she's not Mold Breaker. So she's got an immunity to it if the Ditto yoinks it.
Then sadly the Gastro just comes in.
Yeah, and then the Gastrodon comes in. They both swap some RNG here. Certainly Kemeth's burn is more important than the defense drop, but you know, they both kind of suck a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, Machamp just gets in for free. This thing dies to burn, so it can't get up any screens or anything. And pretty much at this point, like it's bad for Claire. And she doesn't realize, I think she assumes at this point that it's no guard, which is fair because she didn't see like a Flame Orb activate. But she accidentally just powers up his power-up punch. And now he's sitting here like +1 Guts boosted. He just deletes this ground immunity. And suddenly, as soon as Excadrill comes in, as long as Cameron could like safely get in the Ditto, it's super over. And that is exactly what happens here. There's no longer a scenario where Earthquake doesn't just kill all 3 of these Pokemon.
Leans up house.
Yep. And then that's it for Claire. And I mean, Kevin, he brought like some cool stuff in the back. I don't even think we really got to see the Lele all that much. But the Ditto was just MVP. Literally put in all the work.
And the Arctozolt came out, absolutely owned the Galvantula, and never came out again either.
That's true, yeah. Arctozolt showed up, like clocked in, did his job, clocked out. That was it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, Kevin will just look. He had kind of a sloppy couple of like opening weeks, but he just looks like a fucking like menace. By week 6, dude, this guy's sitting at a 5-1. He's only lost to IDM, and even then, it was like a fairly close match. And my God, I mean, he really just made Claire look hopeless. I felt like, you know, to the uninitiated, this looks like just a terrible matchup, just based on like how Kenneth could just shut down everything that Claire had. But it was literally just he was playing like on that level, and Claire just was not playing on that level that day.
Exactly. I feel like you play this over and over, and there's no way that Claire gets beat this hard, but he did this time.
Right.
And great job by Karen.
Yep. He definitely held it down. And speaking of holding it down, Woody versus Phantom Knight, man. Woody, coach of the Schaumburg Salamences, that's what it's called, versus Phantom Knight, coach of the Haunted Mansion Gengars. Hey, at this point, Phantom Knight, I think, has picked up 1 win. He's beaten he's beaten Mass. I think he beat Mass like the week before this, so he's kind of just like he's here, he's grooving, he's ready. You know,
he's riding hot off that win.
He knows that he's not gonna end the season at 0-7, but Woody at this point is 0-5, and he's still like, oh my god, I want to at least get one win, right? I don't want to be the guy who ends at 0-7. So, yeah, I mean, Woody, he tries his ass off, and honestly, I feel like Woody played relatively well for most of this game. He did super hard fall off at the end, spoiler alert, but basically, well, Jason, I think that you're very familiar with the concept of Pokemon statuses. If you want to tell me what happens.
Oh, yeah, I'm very familiar with this if you watch the other video, but right here, the Prismarina is going to click Ice Beam, and it's going to instantly freeze the Azu on turn 1. Yeah. You hate to see it, and just like my Urshifu, it will, sadly, spoilers, not thaw out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, literally never thaws out. It like stays frozen, I think, for like 4 turns or like 5 turns or something. Like
a huge physical threat eliminated.
Yeah, and it sucks too, because like if it was just like the regular sort of belly drum Aqua Jet liquidation like player off or whatever,
it was clicking it right there on that Prismarina.
Yep. It sucks. I mean, he gets this in. I think he like whirlwinds here, right? Which is like super dumb. Or no, he puts up rocks and then he whirlwinds. He should have just earthquaked this thing. I think he was scared of tornadoes. Oh, he does earthquake. Sorry, I'm thinking of a later turn. My God, ignore me. Basically, yeah. I mean, to Phantom Knight's credit, he is keeping up like a lot of offensive pressure. Although this thing like Shadow Ball totally wrecks Espeon, so I'm not sure why it came in. But I guess he was just hard calling that maybe Woody was going to U-turn out or something. So I don't know. The U-turn really didn't pan out in Woody's favor. He does kill the Espeon, but like he takes 50 on this thing, and I think it's Life Orb too. So. It's not great. But he gets in the Azumarill, right? And he's like, okay, that's 1 turn frozen, and he needs to thaw out here. He eats the Draining Kiss, gets the Citrus Berry, he's at 69, he knows he can still get the Belly Drum if he gets it on this Primarina on like a Water Move or whatever.
So he brings in his Dragapult.
Yeah, he brings the Dragapult. Aqua Jet does a clean 7 to Dragapult when...
Shadow Ball doing negative 10 right back at Prismarina.
Yeah, seriously.
But you know what? He brought it in just for the extra turn to get thawed out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second freeze turn, didn't thaw. Third freeze turn, didn't thaw. And there goes Azumarill. And without Azumarill, yeah, he just really can't get through Primarina. He can't get through, like, Registeel. I mean, not that it would have done amazing versus Registeel necessarily, but I don't know. He should have Earthquake there for sure. That's the Whirlwind I was talking about.
Yep. That's dead.
Also, shouts to like Fire taking Life Orb, Rocky Helmet, Sand. Yeah. Accelerock, not really necessary. Sand Rush, this thing super outruns everything. And actually, this turn, he really pays for it by clicking Accelerock, when Stone Edge certainly would have killed this Primarina, I think. Or at least it would have had a chance to on a crit. But he clicks Accelerock despite being faster than it. And we had a conversation. I'm going to stop the replay right there for a second. Because I watched this one on stream, and I had somebody, an eagle-eyed viewer in the audience, was saying, well, what about Aqua Jet? It already showed Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet would have killed. It certainly would not have killed at that percentage. Absolutely not. So, Stone Edge was just the objectively correct play. If you're like trying to preserve differential or literally trying to win the game, you should have clicked Stone Edge here every time. But instead he Accelerocks and then just gets Ice Beamed and dies.
And dies, exactly.
Yep.
Like most Pokemon do.
Yeah, that's true. Aqua Jet does actually kill this thing this time. And then
that's the 7 roll.
Noivern comes in. Flamethrowers for some reason. It must be like choice, and he was trying to like hit the other 2 Pokemon, but
yeah. No, he's not winning that.
Nope.
Woody, GG. I'll do the thing with the stats.
Amen. What a visionary.
Something I myself, even though I have lost before, I'm just not too acquainted with doing stats. I think Spood made me do them, but that's...
Yeah. Well, doing the stats is like, it's not necessarily the most intuitive thing.
But it also takes maybe, I don't know, 1 minute and requires 0 effort. But...
That's true. I mean, it's actually like pretty fast. You literally just have to watch the match back and be like, okay, how many kills did what get? And like, there's certain scenarios where like people be like, well, what happens if like a Life Orb kills me, or like, if a weather that I set up on my team kills me or whatever. But usually the answer to that is just no one gets a kill. It's just like counted as a death.
I was looking for like a thing that said I would have won if I didn't get hacks at the bottom, like a little star next to the loss or something.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
Just
let
know
me.
that the results are fraudulent.
It was weird. So, yeah, so people who look at that will think I got completely outplayed, even though that wasn't the case at all. Not one turn was I outplayed.
Hey man, you keep telling yourself.
Speaking of outplaying,
Speaking of outplaying, why don't you take us to the next match?
Of Dumblespoods Army versus IDM4 of Brussels Espeons.
Yeah, this was another big match, actually. So, Scoots is one of the few people who has beaten IDM in the league. I mean, it's like a very... Not as exclusive as a list as it used to be, frankly. But, I mean, literally, he's only lost, I think, 8 games ever. Like, in all of the seasons of Double Dip that he's played. It's like the 4th season. So, he averages 2 losses per season, which is pretty fucking good.
Put that in perspective, I lost, I think, 5 games my first season.
Yeah, so this guy's like kind of a lord. But Scoots, notably, I mean, knocked him out of playoffs in Season 1. Actually, 6-0'd him with a Reuniclus Season 1. And that very same Reuniclus, not the same set, but that very same Pokemon on the very same team, the very same guy, is sitting there right against IDM. So for IDM, this is kind of a bit of retribution on the line. But they're also, they both picked up a loss. Scoots has dropped a game to Chemith. IDM dropped a game to Firebolt. So they're actually both in serious danger of falling out, depending on who loses this match. So it was kind of a big deal. And, well, let's see how it panned out. IDM definitely was still the favorite, despite having lost, I believe, the last time that they played. I don't know that they had played since Season 1, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, I have no clue.
Yeah, sorry. I realize that is very, obtuse commentary. That
I wasn't even here Season 1. I didn't even know that you got 6-0'd by Reuniclus Season 1. I came Season 2.
Yeah, no, the Reuniclus set Season 1 was like Acid Armor, Calm Mind,
oh, that's a beautiful
Recover,
set.
Stored Power, I think, or something like that.
Stored Power.
Yeah. Or maybe it was Psychic.
IDM. Well...
Yeah. This game, actually interesting interactions to learn from this game. So we've talked a lot in previous analysis, like recap videos, about what the terrains do. And I've gone on record saying that I hate Misty Terrain. I think it's the worst terrain by far, because its benefit is its main benefit's fine, like preventing status universally has its benefits, but compared to boosting grass, electric, or psychic type moves, I mean, it just it lacks boosting fairy moves as a good thing that it does. The only other thing that it really does is have the dragon type damage on the field, and it actually really fucks over Scoots' Goodra more than once in this fight. Also, I know I've just motor mouthed over a ton of this game, but
Yeah.
Echo Valiant was looking very scary. The Justified and then the Swords Dance pop was pretty much...
wait, this actually is really important.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, now that we're on the same page, because this was a heated discussion when we were doing our notes. So... Oh, yeah. Glastrier comes in on this Grimmsnarl. He knows he can kill Grimmsnarl if he clicks High Horsepower. He knows that he can do damage to Quillfish if it switches in, if he clicks High Horsepower. And he does do that, in fact. Now, with the Intimidate, Quillfish clutches it, lives right on 25%, but IDM knows that he's got the Pinch Berry, he's got the Custat Berry in the back, which is going to trigger at 25 below, and it's going to give him a priority Destiny Bond. But Scoots, big or small brain, I'm not sure, just Swords dances right in front of this thing. I think maybe he was expecting Custat Destiny Bond.
I'm thinking extremely large brain.
Yeah, Scoots is definitely erring more on the side of large brain during decisions like this.
Especially with these next 2 turns.
Yeah, so this is a weird interaction, right? So next up, right, Quillfish goes first because the Trick Room falls, and Quillfish, its Destiny Bond is gone, so if it takes another hit, it's fine. Does 17% to this Glastrier. Remember, Glastrier's at 83, but then, very important, poison right there. Now, if Glastrier had clicked High Horsepower there, my goodness, it keeps just...
And there was no poison.
And if he hadn't gotten poisoned, right, on the 1 and 3... then he could have lived what happened next. But unfortunately, he kind of just gets whittled down. He commits to a second Swords Dance, and this puts him well within range of Silvally Steel's multi-attack. Whereas if he had just been at 83%, had killed the
Quillfish.
what the hell's it called? Yeah, the Quillfish, and also hadn't gotten poisoned, then he could have killed the Silvally back.
8% chance to live Silvally's multi-attack.
Yeah. Also a weird double there. I'm not really sure why you wouldn't just like sack your Gudra if you like, I don't know, you're just taking extra rocks damage. And also gimping your Draco.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It gets outsped by both of them, so it's game over.
Yeah, pretty much. But it, it was like a tight-ish game. I mean, like a 4-0, but it could have been closer, right? Like Grimmsnarl was essentially dead on rocks, and Palossand definitely had chip. So if
not to say IDM only won because of the poison. I feel like there's definitely so much more game to be had there.
Yeah, for sure. But it definitely like made it basically impossible for Scoots at that point.
Yeah.
But we did run the calc, I promise. The it definitely did not kill.
Well,
at
not 100%.
Oh yeah, not 100%. I mean, it did potentially have a roll to kill, assuming that this thing was running like no bulk, which I would be surprised if it wasn't running bulk. 'Cause it's not like it's running speed, right? So
yeah, it's.
But literally like 0 HP, 0 defense. Silvally Steel, Adamant, which IDM literally told us it was Adamant, right? So we were calculating for like max 252 Adamant.
Yeah.
Multi-attack, still, it was a roll. And I'm pretty sure this thing was running some kind of HP or defense investment. So.
Has to have HP. There's no way it doesn't.
Yeah. So.
With that said.
Yeah. So that's pretty much that, man. I mean, this Silvally just cleans up another game by itself. Silvally at this point is the kill leader and does
alone
not
at the top.
Oh yeah,
alone at the top.
Silvally's nuts, man. Like what a value pick. What tier is that? It's like tier 3.
That was something terrible. I wanted to pick it myself, but I got stolen from.
Sniped, man.
I did get sniped.
Just a draft, man. It's rough.
And
it's an emotional.
And then I made everyone wait as I slept throughout the days.
That's true. We definitely had to wait like 12 hours on you. It's like you and Phantom would just like back up.
Always wake up to like 8 messages of draft.
Start a draft, Jason, where are you?
And I'm waking up at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, that is fucking.
I'm like,
funny.
Whoops.
So that's our 4 matches for Division 1.
4 great matches. One of my favorite weeks, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a good week for sure. Yeah, this is let's take a look at the rankings, right? Let's take a look at the landscape going into week 7, our final week. Because honestly, like, this is a terrifying set. You've got IDM and Kenneth sitting at 5-1, differentials off by only 1 point. Kenneth actually wins that head-to-head, so if he were to elevate his differential by 1, he'd be in the top of his division, literally number 1 at that point. Claire, I mean, that loss is rough, pushes her all the way down to 3rd. Firebolt, barely staying alive. Scoots actually falls out of playoffs contention at that point.
3 people at 4 and 2 though. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're literally all like muscling in, like desperately trying to get into that last spot. And,
and
even IDM, given a weird series of things, if he had been 6-0'd and then someone else did a 6-0 or what have you, if there was like a weird interaction,
if IDM had a breakdown,
yeah, then IDM actually could have still fallen out of playoffs at this point. Although, spoiler alert, he gets damn close to that and then still manages to clutch God, hang in there. So,
as he does.
Yeah, because it's IDM 4. Come on, he's not going to get 6-0. So, except if you're Scoots in season 1, in which case he does get 6-0. But oh well.
Nothing matters. That's before Jason. That doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true. Well, I'll tell you what. What I think is kind of an interesting storyline, right? Certainly not the most interesting storyline. I think what's really most interesting is seeing like which of these 5 like actually incredible, really well performing players is going to drop out. Another thing to keep tabs on is that we are now in the only division where there are people who haven't taken a game yet, and it's actually 2 people, Mass and Woody, sitting at the bottom 0-6. And so going into week 7, they're playing each other. So whoever wins that match gets their first and only win, and whoever loses ends the season at 0-7. I almost feel like that's a more high stakes match than people playing for playoffs at that point.
For sure. Oh, and it was a great match to watch. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one when we do the analysis for next week. Like, oh, it's crazy. We've just about finished week 7 as of recording this. There's only one game left to be played, and then we have a finalized playoffs. And even at this point, when there's only one game left in the league, we still don't know exactly what the layout's
seeding
gonna be.
and everything.
Yeah. So,
but what we do know is that there's a very talented player in Division 2 who did very well.
Yeah, shouts to Spood. He did really, really good.
Spood did okay.
He's always been pretty forward too. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wouldn't meant nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what. Division 1 is, I think, the division to watch. If I'm being honest, I think that the level of play in Division 1 is probably just on average a bit higher than that in Division 2.
I have incredible bias, and I still agree with you.
Yeah,
that's
seriously.
how good the players in Division 1 are.
Division 1 is.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell everyone I'm the best player, right? But Division 1, now those are some real good players.
Yeah, they're seriously legit. So. Definitely stay tuned for the next week, final week of standard season. You're gonna see literally who gets in and in what order. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. Stay tuned for playoffs information. Thank you for joining us for the Week 6 Division 1 Season 4 recap. Once again, I'm Spood with the Southtown Sand Slashers.
And I'm Jason with the Hartford Honchcrows.
And we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Peace.
Yes, thank you. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, follow me on Fiverr.
Yes, we will do Pokemon Showdown training. We'll coach you.
Yeah, hit me up on, what was that?
You want to get to the top of the ladder?
Well, you're looking in the wrong place.